we went from launching our gym to a fully self-supporting gym in 3 years. And I made every single mistake you can think of. Here are the 5 things that I wish that I would have known if I was starting my gym that I can only see now at the end. So the first thing that I learned while I was a gym owner was the fact that you don't actually coach that much anymore. When I was a PT, I spent all of my time coaching people, right? I was doing 40 hours a week of personal training. I was helping people one-on-one, and I was in the trenches. I was helping people with their injuries, with their nutrition. And it was doing the thing that I'd always dreamt of doing and what I always loved doing. The funny thing is, maybe for the first year of being a gym owner, you actually go on the extreme. You do so much coaching and you do so much of it, but actually it gets to the point where if you really want to grow as a gym owner, you need to hire out that role as fast as possible. Now, there's something that I do with gym owners at the minute when I do gym consulting, and essentially you look at your calendar and you write out all of the hours that you do in the week, and then you put £1 per hour next to what you were doing in your calendar. And the thing is coaching is £20 an hour or £25 an hour. Sales can be £600 every hour. Doing brand deals and marketing can be even more than that. And so the thing is if you want to grow and you want to get to the next level, you have to outsource the coaching role pretty fast. And I'm pretty sure it was about 1.5 years into Kiwi and mine's journey in the Arch when we had our first gym that we had completely outsourced the role of being coaches. The longer you leave it where you're still a coach, the more people become attached to you and the more your gym is related to you as the coach. So it's Ollie's gym or it's Ollie and Kira's gym. The thing about Cali Unity right now is that if me and Kira got hit by a bus, the whole thing would still run. The whole thing would be absolutely fine. Our coaches, our staff, our members even are actually what carry the brand forward, not necessarily us. But that is something that you definitely have to realize, and something that I didn't really comprehend when I first got into the gym owner space, that the thing that you actually love and the thing that you're really getting into is actually not going to be the thing that you're doing the most. The second thing that I learned from running a gym is the whole thing is sales and marketing. It's all behavior change. So when you get into the gym space, you're probably getting into it because you're like, I love training and someone helped me, or I love training myself and it helped me and I want to transfer that to other people. So you think it's going to be writing meal plans and writing programs and designing the progressions and pyramid. Literally no one cares. It's just behavior change at the end of the day. And actually it's really sales. It's sales and marketing. Marketing is a sales one-to-many. And sales is a transference of belief over a bridge of trust, and it comes from power, which is the ability to direct or influence others. And that's something that I realized getting into this game. I didn't really have to be that good at sales because I had enough demand that I could show people that I was good at my job. I had enough testimonials and proof. And also I could just talk and show them and give them free sessions and they'd eventually pay. And also the clientele that you go after when you do PT is very different in the gym industry, obviously depending on what gym you're gonna run. And so just from my experience, when we first opened our Arch gym, we were like, we have our PT clients and actually not many of them want to join into group classes. So you have to go after a whole different target market. But oh my God, I have to actually learn properly how to do sales and marketing. How do I get leads? And it's a completely different game to posting some social media content and doing some outreach, because that won't work. That won't get you 200, 250, 300 members in your gym. It's not a long-term sustainable model. And so again, now I love that stuff. It's something that this is a side note, a little side quest that we get into a lot on this channel, which is actually when you get into something, your passions won't always be your passions for life. My passion was fitness, then it went to business, and now it's kind of moving a bit more to fitness. It's quite nice. The passions will change, and the things that you love, and really passion comes from passio, which means to suffer for. And so what you're willing to sacrifice for. Overall, as a gym owner, my main job is sales and marketing. Because again, if we link it back to point number 1, I could be the best coach in the world, right? And I could be doing all of the classes and I can keep doing that, which is great. But I think the number one thing to always answer the question for is simply like, what do you want? What are we solving for? And the thing is Kiwi and I, don't know what I'm calling it, I'm getting all serious. Kiwi and I were solving for the fact that we wanted to change the UK. We don't just want a nice gym in Bath, right? We actually want to solve the UK health crisis, which is going on right now. We actually want to do something about it. We want to change lives. We want to make more gyms. We want to build something online. And so we knew knew that we couldn't just be doing 10 hours of classes a week in the gym. But also, I think it comes back to something that's inside of me, which is that I just want to get better. I look at the hard problem and something about it just entices me and pulls me into it. And I think that is a lot of the reason why we keep going to the next stage and we keep knocking our head against the wall and it keeps getting harder. But when you look back, you've actually beaten levels 1 to 8 of the bosses of the game. And levels 1 to 8, that's fine because now you're working on levels 9 and 10. So yeah, that's my second point, which is that when you actually get into the gym industry, you're probably going to be doing stuff which is very different to what actually got you into the industry in the first place. So my third thing that I had no idea that I had to do when I opened a gym was I went from coaching my clients to coaching my staff. This was huge. And actually, funny enough, when you first quit your job, you want control, right? You don't have any control. You're being controlled by everyone else. And you're like, I want control. And so you take that massive bet, like, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna do this, and I have all the control back. And then the funny thing is when you're doing 40 hours a week of personal training, you have all the control. It's me, my calendar. If you've read the book, this is up to stage 10 of the book, Act 2, right? Which is basically you have a business, you have a career, you've quit your job, you've reached your freedom number. If you want to read the book, by the way, link in description, it's all there, it's completely free, 5.5 hour YouTube video, and you can join the academy, it's all free, link in description. But the thing is if you want to go to Act 3, which is to build a movement, to build a brand, to build a team, you quit your job because you wanted control. And guess what you have to do now? You have to give up control. It's really scary. And I remember the first time that I hired my first sales guy, his name was Brian, absolute legend. He was a member of the gym for 6 months. And he came down to have a conversation with me in person. And he sat down, he was like, oh, by the way, I'm a sales coach. He was like, how much is it? And I was like, Brian, this is not about me, it's about you. I need to understand what your goals are to see if I can even help you. He was Irish, like, I like you. He was like, this is good. And he ended up signing up, and he actually said that if he knew the price beforehand, he wouldn't have even walked into the gym. So by the way, never put your prices online. So that's the second point, if you're doing high ticket stuff. So I remember sitting in a cafe in Germany with Kira. We were sitting there and I remember my phone going off, ping, and $5.99 came into the account. I looked at Kira and I was like, that's the first time in my life I've truly felt that I've given up control and I've been rewarded for it. Because hey, look, we've hired coaches and we've hired cleaners and we've hired even managers, right? But that stuff is fantastic. But if the sales stop, the whole business dies. And when I gave up that control to Brian, I coached him so much. We went through everything. I made sure that everything was perfect for him, dialed in on everything. When he made that sale, that's when I was like, oh, this is it. This is the game. It's finding people like him and setting up the environment so that he wins. And so that's progressed now to me genuinely being at a point in my life where if I want to change something at Cali, I will have to fire my staff to come back in and change stuff because we've given them so much control. We put so much faith in them, which by the way, has bit us in the butt at times. So don't get me wrong, we make mistakes, but I've learned that the NBA is won in the draft. You find the best person or the best person that you can find. You train them up to a certain level. And by the way, training is super easy. You make a checklist. So you do what you're doing and you write out what you're doing in a simple checklist. The simpler the checklist, the more you understand the thing. So for example, when I was first teaching my mum how to make the Cali Unity t-shirts, I said, oh mum, just turn on the laptop. And then from there, I had the steps laid out. And 3 weeks in, no t-shirts were made. And I went to her, I was like, mum, why are you not doing this? And she was like, oh, I have no idea how to turn the laptop on. I was like, right, get the mouse, drag it to the bottom left of the mouse pad and click. And then when a little screen comes up, you can click type in Cricut, C-R-I-C-U-C. And then when it comes down, click on that thing. And then here's the login. And if you need to reset the password, this is how you do it. And I broke everything down. By the end of the day, she had 20 t-shirts made because that was the bottleneck. And so what I'm trying to say with all of this is that when you first get into the gym industry, again, just like step 2, you think, I'm going to be teaching people and programming and all this kind of stuff. I haven't done that in 2 years. It's actually, the thing is all businesses at the top is just leadership and culture. And the thing of a gym is you actually go through all of the startup stages so much faster with 100 times less of the revenue of what a normal startup is, just because of the nature of a gym. Like your local gym, you're not going to get to $1 million a month in a gym, but you will get to the point of outsourcing the teams so other things are doing it. There are very basic functions that need to be done. And so that overall is my lesson that I would, if I was doing this again, I'd be like, right, don't focus so much on the programming, on that stuff, focus on the coaches and the clients. And actually that's an important thing. This kind of leads me to step 4, which I only thought I was doing 3, but we're riffing. Step 4, or the thing that I noticed, or the big thing about the gyms is don't overcomplicate this stuff. People want to come in, they want to train, they want to feel good, and they want to keep doing it. That's it. And we fell into the trap of, I think there's a really famous quote, which is that businesses fail through indigestion, not through combustion, something like that. And actually, it's entrepreneurs fail because they convince themselves they're smarter than they are, which really hit me because I've done that many a time where I thought, oh, I'm better than all these guys. I'm going to do this thing, make a yard. Just look at the core components of your business, of your gym, and be like, what needs to happen for someone to stay? And I love Elon's algorithm, which is number 1, question, number 2, delete, number 3, simplify, number 4, automate. So there's no point automating something that needs to be deleted. There's no point simplifying something that you should question that it's even there. So the first thing to do is go through everything of your business, everything that people do, even the fact of like, why do you have a business in the first place? Can you just do other stuff? Question everything. And if one of your team members or yourself or your co-founder or anyone cannot back it up with pure logical evidence and reasoning, delete it, get rid of it. Question, that's my job nowadays. I go through everything. I'm like, why are we doing that? And if my team goes, because of this, I jump a little bit more, I'm like, what about this? And they go, no, we need to do that, Ollie, shut up. I'm protecting this one. We're doing that. That's great. But if I question something and everyone's like, why do we do that? I'm like, delete it. What are we doing? Get rid of it. It's literally just fluff. It's just like bloated. Bring back down to the absolute fundamentals of what we need to do, and then let's just do that, because simple scales, fancy fails. My final point, number 5, on things that I would have learned, things that I learned being a gym owner, and actually what I didn't realize getting into it. When we first made Cali Unity meant Calisthenics United. And I thought that I'd be training really advanced people at Calisthenics. And that was our first few clients. We had maybe our first 100 people were people that wanted to get strong, and we could just help them get their pull-ups and it's body weight training and all these different things. This actually leads to a separate point, which is that feedback is probably the most important thing in your business. And actually, I listen to it even more so. But if all we listen to is feedback, we just have faster horse-drawn carriages. So be careful about that. You need to invent the car. But what I did from sitting across probably about 1,000, I've probably done in-person consultations. So not as many as people like Mosey, but I've probably done 1,000 in-person consults, then loads more phone calls and talking to my actual avatars and custom audio, all my audience. Is I realized they all had one thing in common. They all hated traditional gyms. They all just didn't like gyms. And they wanted community. And they wanted to be strong, but they hadn't found somewhere that could do that. And the more and more I was talking to these people, I was like, wow, that's it. We were directionally correct. But when we started out, Cali Unity meant Calisthenics United. Now it means beauty and community. Now it means stronger together, because what people really wanted, again, it's like you buy a hammer to put a shelf up, but you don't really want the shelf. You want the feeling of what tidiness brings you. And you don't want the feeling of tidiness, you actually want the feeling of security, because your room is nice and you're a put together person. So people were doing calisthenics with us, but they were actually running away from something and running towards something. And we realized that they were running away from the fact that they literally had tried gyms in the past and nothing had worked. That's why it's always good that we do a consultation and a phone call, because we can chat to people and we can talk. We could never put up $5.99 Stripe payment. Literally no one would pay it. No one would pay it. We have to have these conversations with people, but also we realized that everyone wants the same thing. If everyone could push a red button right now and get stronger, heal their injuries and get toned, everyone would push it. But there was nothing out there for them. And so we were like, hey, I'm not that person, and I wasn't that person. I'm not a 45-year-old mum who is going through the menopause, or a over 40s dad which is struggling to look after his 3 kids, his 9 to 5, but also his back's hurting. I'm not that, but I just listened to my customers and went, oh, we are perfectly positioned to serve you guys, and we're gonna do exactly that. And so I guess that's my fifth point, which is listen to your target audience, and also don't be afraid to pivot as you go through things. Don't be afraid to change. If you make a decision every single month, you'll move by every single month. If you make a decision every single week, you'll move 4 times faster than that person. If you make a decision every single day, you'll move 7 times faster than the other person. So you literally can move thousands of times faster than other people because you just decide to make decisions faster. That's it. And especially if you've watched my previous videos and you're paying in money rather than time, this is how you can get thousands of years of knowledge in years. Because if you're humble enough to realize that, then you can actually go through it and move faster. So guys, those are my 5 points. I'm still learning. Cali is not perfection. It's far from perfection. And I think that's maybe my last point, my PS statement, which is like, you're never finished. As soon as you think you're finished, that's when you're truly finished. We have an artist always is willing to go back to the blank canvas. Always. No matter what. Because that's where growth is. And I think that's the thing that I'm proud of the most with me and QE. We're always ready to look at everything and go like, should we just burn that down and start again? Because we know what we need to do. And I think that is where a lot of people get stuck because they keep doing the same thing, which by the way, that's a skill. That's incredible. If you can just keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's a fine balance. But I guess this is my last PS statement in all of this, which is don't be afraid to iterate. Don't be afraid to improve on stuff, but also be humble enough to realize that there's so much more to learn. And if you think you're done, you can be the strongest person in a kid's karate class and you can feel super confident. Go train with the black belts. You won't feel confident, right? You can have billionaires in a room and Jeff Bezos will still make them all feel inadequate. So if you feel confident, you're probably just not in the right room. It's not confidence. I think it's that smugness, right? And it's the feeling of like, I'm done and I'm the best. Bullshit. There's always another level to get to and there's always the next step. So overall guys, those are my 5. I hope it helped you out. Don't be afraid, go in the description below. There's the book, there's the video, there's the academy. It's all completely free. It's thousands of hours of me making mistakes so that you haven't got to make them as well. It's all there.